Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So I have a question. Have you ever gone to the food store and you pick some items up and you're looking at the labels and you're wondering, what's in this? And are they saying what's really actually true? Because you're putting it in your body. A lot of us want to eat healthy, but we have no idea what we're looking at when we look at those labels. We think we do, but there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of deception, if you will. And we've got somebody that's going to break it down for you. And that's Dr. Maryam Dadkhah. She is the Eat Well Guru. And Maryam, great to have you back with us.
Thanks for having me, Steve, here. How are you?
I'm doing very well. A little bit hungry, which prompted me to go to the cabinet here in my office and pull out some stuff that I'd love to analyze in terms of the labels. And I know you have some too. And there is a lot of misconceptions about the labels, aren't there?
There are.
Yeah, like the claims that are made on labels. And well, let's rewind. Does the FDA have to approve labels?
So to some extent, for some areas, they are more flexible and let the food industry run the show. So it depends.
Gotcha. Okay. So it seems you're being a little vague on that. And I understand why, because they're looking at them, but they're not really looking at them. So there's a lot of things that can squeak by the FDA that we'll see on the label thinking that what we're eating is actually really good.
Exactly.
Would you like to begin with some labels?
That sounds good.
All right. So I grabbed something, and this is my go-to snack. And okay. I wonder if I'm doing myself justice or wrong with this, but
okay.
I don't think it's going to be, it's probably going to be backwards the way it shows here on the video, but these are carb balance wraps. And I like them because they're lower in carbs and low in calories. Should I read you just, file down here a couple of things and then you can analyze it?
Sounds good.
Okay. So we have per tortilla shell. And now I'm aware of what you always say. Make sure you look at the serving size. It is in fact one tortilla. So that we got that. 70 calories, 3 grams of fat. Saturated fat is 1 gram. Trans fat is 0. Polyunsaturated fat is 1.5. Monounsaturated fat is 0. Cholesterol 0. Sodium 320 milligrams. Total carbs 19. Fiber is 15 grams. And protein is 5, and total sugars or added sugars is 0. So what is your overall, I don't know if you want me to, go into vitamins and calcium, but, just.
No. So here's the thing. Actually, I was suggesting the same tortilla to people for a while.
These same ones?
These same ones.
Oh, wait a minute.
but there's a big but,
Go ahead.
The but part is I started to read the ingredient list. So from that table, from nutrition fact tables, it looks good.
Yes.
But then when you start reading the ingredient, then you question that whether it's a good choice or not.
Okay. So in the ingredients, and I love this because you were thinking just like I was. This to me seems like it's a good quick snack. I throw some peanut butter on it, low in calories, really good in fiber, low in carbs, because you have what I learned from you, the net carbs when you take away the fiber, right? So I got 4 net carbs here. What in the ingredient panel, which is really hard to read, by the way.
Oh, I know. So there are some intentions behind all of these, right?
Well, now I'm knowing the eatwellguru.com, now I know why. What's in here ingredient wise that isn't so great?
So how about can you start reading the ingredients?
Sure.
Steve?
We got water, modified wheat starch, enriched bleach flour, and then they break it down in parentheses: wheat flour, niacin, reduced iron, thiamine, mononitrate, riboflavin or flavin, hydrogen. Wait a minute. Folic acid, wheat gluten.
All right. That's the part that the hydrogenated one. Okay.
Just not to get to that. Yeah.
Right. So here's the catch. So FDA let the food industry to choose a serving size that in that serving size the trans fat could be 0.5 or below, and then they can list it as 0. So when you look at the trans fat, you see trans fat as 0.
0, yep.
But actually, if an item has hydrogenated, it means that has trans fat in it.
Well, the only thing I can say is it's lower on the ingredients. It's about halfway through the ingredient list.
Correct. So it might not be a whole lot, but just imagine if you get a little bit of this, or if you have few of these ones, it's going to be 1 gram. And then if you have other stuff. So I'm just saying that with hydrogenated, actually the latest guideline says lose it. So we want to remove it as much as possible from our diet.
Okay, we're going to change gears. I'm going to take
So here's one thing that you could do though. Steve, there are similar products in the market that when I check their label, they don't have hydrogenated as part of their ingredients. So next time when you go, check the label. I actually found some other ones. Some, the patient brought it to me to see if they're good. Some I found it myself that they don't have hydrogen. So you can find some other items without hydrogenated in them.
So now I'm grabbing what I think is a healthier choice. And this is a wrap that has flax, oat bran, and whole wheat. And of course, we talked about flaxseed being really good for you.
Right.
Let's flip this over and see what we're dealing with. The ingredients.
And then remember when we say there are some claims on this. So the other one was low carb. So as far as low carb, that one didn't do a bad job. So it was correct, right? But they use some of these keywords to basically say that it's a healthier option. So let's say flax. When you heard the flax, you automatically jump into saying that's a healthy items.
Sure.
The flax might be the last on the ingredient list. If it's the last on the ingredient list, it might hardly have that much of flax in it.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
All right, we have 60 calories in one of these. Let me see if that's a.
So tell me about the fiber content of it.
That 60 calories is half of one of these, but
half of one of these.
In all fairness to the last product, that was a smaller wrap than these. These are big. Okay, so
correct.
We'll go with that. Total fat 1.5 grams, saturated fat 0, trans fat 0, cholesterol 0, sodium 290 milligrams. Total carbs, 8 grams, dietary fiber, 2, total sugars, added sugar, 0, protein is 6. So very comparable actually to the last product, at least in my eyes.
How much was the fiber in this one compared to the other one, Steve?
Only 2. But when you drop it down, now we have 6 net carbs and there was 4 in that one. So, kind of close, right?
So yeah, we usually look for the items that has at least 3 grams or more fiber to be considered like a whole grain or a healthier options. And at the same time to be less than 2 grams of added sugar.
Gotcha. Now looking at the ingredients, I can read it to you. I'm scanning now that you told me what to look for. I'm not seeing any hydrogenated products. I mean, it's got the typical whole wheat flour, wheat gluten. These are the beginning products. Oat fiber, cornstarch. I looked at your face. I wanted to see what you thought. Defatted soy flour, soy protein isolate, soybean oil.
Yeah, so this one is doesn't have hydrogenated as far as I know.
Yeah, and then we got enriched wheat flour and it, same kind of ingredients as in the other product. Then it says 2% or less of each of the following: dextrose, sodium bicarbonate, calcium propanate, potassium sorbate.
So these are many of these ones might be additives and preservatives. Steve, I have a question.
Sure.
But we don't know exactly what the additives and preservatives. They are in a category, we call them GRAS, which stands for generally regarded as safe. So we don't know that many bad things about preservatives and additives, those names that you don't know what exactly they are.
Right.
One other thing that you told me is a flax something. Did you see flax in the initial ingredients somewhere?
Give me a second here, because now you've intrigued me and everybody else, because I don't recall seeing that, and I do not see it in the list of ingredients. And I'm going to scan one more time just for fairness. Where's the flax? What
That's
the
what I'm
flax?
saying.
Maryam, what the flax? Where's the flax?
So that's why I'm saying many times they use these words that people look at them as healthy and buy these products, but they actually, when you look at the ingredients, they might not have it.
Where is it? How do they say that? How can they possibly say that? I'm expecting flax seed, flax oil, whatever it might be, because flax is usually higher in protein and good for you.
Right.
But where is it?
So they use it, but it's not there.
I feel like I've been used, taken, swindled. Like I don't
So, Steve, you know, when I go to grocery store, it takes me quite some time
I'm
because
sure.
I read all the ingredients to choose something. And then
wait, I found it. I found it. My bad.
you found it. Okay.
Flaxseed is the last ingredient before the 2% of or less of the following.
Okay. So just so you know, usually the first two ingredients is the main ingredients in any products.
Sure.
So when you see it that far down, it might have one or two flaxseed in whole bread. So just so you know.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like that. It does. I mean, they weren't lying, but I'm sure that's the last ingredient. So I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And then just so you know, just because we review these two right now, doesn't guarantee that next time that you go to grocery shop, they're going to be the same exact ingredients because they changed the formulation.
Well, to your point, back to the other product, because it says right there on the package, new look and same great taste. So they probably made a change, but we'll unless we compare, we have no idea what the change.
Right. And then sometimes, so let's say the stuff that I thought that is super healthy, I would go and I would buy them with confidence. I don't need to study the label anymore. But then when I go and let's say randomly, I might check some of the items that I usually regard them as healthy items. They change the ingredients. So then I put them back.
Wow.
I go and do some other things. So you make sure that you check them on regular basis. So don't trust them that they would stay the same ingredients for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. Same great taste, new look.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is an eye-opening experience in terms of food labels that we're breaking some down today. Do you have some to share, like things that we should look out for?
I do have some good ones. So let me bring some of the stuff that I do have.
And by the way, we're talking with Dr. Maryam Dadkhah, who is with Eatwellguru, and she is a registered dietitian. She knows her stuff. If you want to find out more, even work with her to become healthier and know what you're actually putting in your body, eatwellguru.com.
Steve, would you let me share my screen?
Sure. Do I have to do that?
Yes.
Oh, I thought I did that once before. Now I have to find it.
It's in the security, and then you have to let all the participants be able to share the screen.
Right. And there you go.
Okay, let me try. Now I do have it. Okay, so let's give you some good example. So let me make it a little bit bigger. So this is a soy sauce, a regular soy sauce. Okay. Let's look at the sodium level on that one. So it's 40%. Anything that is 20% or more, we consider them high as far as their sodium. And we like to see the 5% as the low sodium options. So many times when we want to basically monitor our sodium intake, we're looking for items with 5% that they are considered low sodium.
And that's your daily intake, right?
The daily intake recommendation needs to be less than 2,300 milligrams. So the labels are based on 2,400 milligrams of sodium.
Okay, so it says on even this product, just so we all understand, percentage of daily value. So
correct.
In this product here that we just talked about, the flaxseed wrap, it says 13% of your daily value, and that's soy sauce, which I would think would be loaded with sodium is, you said 5%?
It should be 5% for something to be considered low in sodium, right? For soy sauce, for 1 tablespoon of it, it has about 40% of sodium.
Wow. No surprise, right?
Okay. No surprise. Now let me take you to the low sodium options that we're getting for soy sauce, right? Let me show you what it looks like.
And do you want to click the product so we can see it clearer? Because I see all of them.
Yeah, those are the food labels that I have, is not the products itself. So this is a low sodium soy sauce.
Okay.
So look at the sodium. They decrease it from 40% to 21%, but still is in 20% or more. That would be considered high in sodium.
If you want to eat low sodium, just don't have soy sauce.
Exactly.
There's no way around it, right?
Right. And then the problem is, look at the serving size. The serving size is 1 tablespoon. I don't know about you, Steve, or not, but many times when we go to sushi bars, we basically bathe the sushis in the soy sauce.
Oh, yeah.
We don't measure it. We don't measure 1 tablespoon. So that sushi bar might be ended up with who knows how much of sodium.
And you know what's funny? You think you're eating healthy because you're going for sushi, but now you're kind of setting it back there with the soy sauce. Wouldn't you love to have soy sauce that had almost no sodium? And let's see what it tastes like.
I hear you.
I would just, the same thing when I go to a fast food restaurant and I get French fries. I always say, no sodium, no salt, please. Number one, they're fresh. Number two, I taste potato. I don't taste salt, which is what I want to taste. And invariably, because they're scooping out of the big hopper, it's going to have sodium anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, so that's one big deal. So even though it might say low sodium, when we look at this, it's not so much low sodium that we think that it is, to be honest with you.
It's lower.
Lower, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one good example. The other good example is, which in your case, you brought it up in that tortilla. This is another one that I would like to share with you. So
sure.
This is these coffee mate kind of things, right?
Oh, yes. There we go.
The trans fat is again 0. The problem is, though,
I think I know what you're going to say, but go right. Go.
Right.
Please go.
Look at the serving size. It's 1 teaspoon. How many of us measure 1 teaspoon in coffee when we want to have coffee mate?
No.
No one. I've never heard anyone measuring teaspoon coffee mate.
The only time I ever measure something is cough medicine.
There you go.
Right. Other than that, you'll take it and you'll go like this. And even if you want to eat healthy, you're just going to go like this and it's probably a teaspoon, but it's probably probably 3 or 4.
Right. So, and then here's the thing. Remember, trans fat is basically hydrogenated ones, right? So it's 0. But then when you look at it, it's hydrogenated is the second ingredient. Or worse, it might have coconut or palm. And just so you know, American Heart Association put hydrogenated coconut and palm, they all in the same category. So we want to remove them all from our diet. That being said, go ahead.
What are the first thing I saw in there? Obviously, it's the first ingredient, corn syrup.
Syrups.
Yeah.
Right.
What is that?
It's sugar. It's basically sugar. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then that brings me to the next thing that I want to tell you about. So as you can see, even though it says 0, because people don't measure it and might have, so you might end up with having so much of trans fat and not knowing.
Wow. Okay.
And because the serving size is also is misleading on this case.
And it's 0 for that serving size.
Exactly. But who knows how much people would eat in reality.
Totally.
Another good one that you brought it up is sugar and added sugar, because we see all these items on the label and people tell me that, oh, this is the healthy sugar. But honestly, the names for the added sugar also can be misleading items. So let's say if people see honey, they always argue with me that, oh, it's natural. Hey, we also extract the sugar from cane sugar or things like that. So it still is natural. So the maple syrup, the problem is the composition, Their chemical structure for all of them is half glucose, half fructose. One might be a little bit higher, might be a little bit lower, but down the road, our body is going to respond the same to all of these.
So question about honey. Is it okay? Is it a good alternative to adding sugar, or it's basically, hey, it's just sugar?
It's just sugar.
Wow. Jeez.
So the fruit juice concentrate, so the molasses. So one of my favorite ones that people lately are super crazy about is agave nectar. People run to me, I found this new sweetener that is healthy and it's called agave nectar. Actually, when I look at the agave nectar composition, it has more fructose compared to any other sweetener on planet Earth, which makes it a little less healthier if you want the truth.
And it's so funny because a couple of weeks ago, I had pure cocoa from a tropical rainforest. I wasn't in a rainforest, but I had the product that somebody had brought back, and they actually sell it here in the States whenever they go to Costa Rica or whatever. And you have to add a sweetener because it's just very bitter.
Right,
but it is so pure. It's the highest in magnesium of anything on the planet, this cocoa. What did they add to it? Agave. So I'm thinking, oh, it's agave. Oh, it's going to be, this is all natural. We have this chocolate coming, just processed, barely even processed right off the, the bean. And then, but no, I'm thinking agave is okay. Just like honey. Can't lose with
right.
honey. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. And so one thing that we need to know is, and sometimes they use the name of the fruits and vegetables and things like that to basically, so let's say grape sugar, I had date sugar, I like beet sugar, like evaporated, organic, this, it doesn't make it healthier. They all basically names of the sugar, and down the road, they're going to be the same composition, and the body is going to react to them similarly.
Interesting. Thank you for providing that, because there's so many on there that we've seen. And for everybody that's listening and can't look at our video, the things that are on here, cane juice, cane sugar. All right. So it's sugar, but with the word cane, you think it's more natural. We have granulated sugar. We have carob syrup, which I never heard. Fructose, which a lot of us have figured out the trick there, that is truly sugar. But yeah, maltose. Never knew that was sugar.
So the O's is basically a name for sugar in chemistry. But other keywords are like syrup, like nectar, like some sort of juice kind of things. So they all basically indicate the presence of some sort of sugar. And then I know for years we were saying, oh, high fructose corn syrup is the worst one.
Right.
But down the road, they all are the same. And I have people that they say, oh, I do brown sugar because it's not processed as much. Well,
sure.
Yeah, but then to our body, it's very similar. They might slightly have less processed, but to our body is similar.
Interesting. So really all of this stuff is basically the same.
Exactly.
Amazing. Wow. Look, that's a key thing that we just learned right there. It really is.
Yeah. So that's another thing that you see on the labels. And many times you'll see that instead of listing them all together, say sugar, they would say honey and cane syrup and this concentrate and that syrup and this nectar. And so you would not know that this product has this much of sugar because they use different names on the ingredient list to basically not to put the sugar the first name.
And we wonder why so many of us are unhealthy.
There you go.
Right?
Exactly.
Crazy. Huh. Well, we have a minute or two left. Any other ones that you want to throw out there?
So the other one that I told you about is serving size is a really big deal. They started to make some changes that we want to in the new labels to try to help with that. So one thing that I want to talk about is, and in some cases, I don't think that is actually very clear. It might make things a little bit more confusing. But with anything, serving size is important, then serving per container. Many times we finish the whole thing. So let's say the case of chips, it might say this many chips, but then we ended up the bag and we say, hey, 230 calories wasn't that bad, but actually it's 230 calories multiplied by 8 serving size.
Now, why is there a new label? Did they have to do that, or they just?
No, they made some major changes that I like. So let's say they added the sugar. They added the added sugar. So it was before just sugar, but now you know that it's naturally occurring or added. Because let's say fruits, like dairy products, they have naturally sugar in them. And we don't consider them unhealthy. But let's say with those item added sugar list that I showed you, the sugar names, those are all considered added sugar. And that's why we benefit from having those ones.
So Maryam, quick question. The new label, was that just the company decided to do that, or that was the FDA?
That was actually a lot of advocacy to make changes, because it was not addressing the health concerns of the Americans. The new label supposedly are going to help better with that. So let's say these nutrients has all changed except for iron, because we don't have deficiency of all the vitamin A and C. Instead, we have more problems with vitamin D and potassium. So that's why they changed it.
Interesting. Wow. And, when you look at the difference between on the old label, 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day, it's negligible. You can figure that out yourself. You don't need to take up space. I'd rather know the 10 grams of added sugars. And
then another thing that I have to tell you, with some items, not with all the items, they change it so it would be more representative of the serving size that people drink. So do you see this other pictures that I pull up? Okay. So let's say with some of the items, people might finish the whole pint or this. So they increase the serving size to be more indicator of how much people are eating. It's like a warning that, hey, you're eating more calorie than what you're supposed to.
Yeah, for sure.
And that is also in the, let's say, drinks was really obvious, because people were getting the whole bottle. They won't look at that half a bottle is serving. They would finish the whole bottle.
Right. Yes. Serving sizes are key.
It is.
We're just about out of time. This has been fascinating. I wish we could go another half hour, because since we're learning so much.
Good.
And also reinforcing some things that a lot of us suspected, but weren't 100% sure. So this is just a piece of what you do when you coach people in terms of their diet. How does it work? If somebody reaches out to you, they go to eatwellguru.com. Do you have a free discovery call? Can they learn about you? How does that work?
So they can learn about me. My website, I do have resources. Many of the things that I bring up is also posted on my resources page. People can call me or email me, and then I call them back to set up an appointment with them. It also has a lot of information about my education, my training, my experience, and so forth. So I highly recommend people to go to eatwellguru.com and then find out about me, and then decide if they want to work with me.
Yeah, a lot of great information there. And I just want to double check. Using a dietitian, is that ever covered by insurance?
Right. I work with a majority of insurance. Even Medicare to some extent covers it, not 100%, but they cover it for diabetes and kidney disease. So I can help with people that they want to use their insurance to work with me.
Time to get healthy, people, and time for me to decide which of these two products I'm going to have for lunch, because based on what we just talked, they're about the same, overall, right? I don't see one better than the other.
Right.
Yeah. Although I kind of like this one better than the other one. If the other one here's the thing, Maryam. I like that one better. The other one tastes a little cardboardy, but I'll still eat it, thinking that it's better for me. But now, what's the point? All right. Eatwellguru.com. Always, Maryam. It's great talking with you. And thanks for the info. And I look forward to catching up again.
Same here. Same here, Steve.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.